Welcome back, everyone, to GS Coins. Today we are focusing on Canada 1-cent coin. So stay with us. At last in this video you will be able to sell your rare and valuable coins in today's market in $1 million. So let's start our video. First up, the 1992 Canadian 1-cent coin. This coin was issued to mark the 125th anniversary of Canada's Confederation, making it a special edition compared to regular 1-cent coins. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Pedery Hunt. This portrait was introduced in 1990 and remained on Canadian coins until 2002. The reverse of the coin, as with all Canadian pennies, features the iconic maple leaves designed by G.E. Kruger Gray, which have been a symbol of Canada's 1-cent coin since 1937. However, what makes the 1992 penny unique is the double date inscribed at the bottom, reading 1867 to 1992, to commemorate Canada's 125th anniversary. This coin was struck in large quantities, meaning it is not particularly rare in circulated condition. However, in uncirculated condition or with special mint errors, it can have a higher value. The 1992 1-cent coin is made of 98% copper, giving it a reddish-brown color. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. If you have one of these coins in circulated condition, its value is usually around 1 to 5 cents. However, in mint state, MS65 or higher, it can be worth between $2 to $10. Certain error coins, such as off-center strikes or double-die varieties, can sell for much higher amounts, sometimes exceeding $50 at auctions. Now, let's move on to the 2002 Canadian 1-cent coin. This coin marks the Golden Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, celebrating her 50th year on the throne. The obverse features a unique portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Susanna Blunt, which replaced the earlier design by Dora de Pedery Hunt. This new portrait is significant because it was the first Canadian coin design to feature the Queen without a crown since the 1950s. The reverse of the 2002 penny still carries the classic maple leaf design, which had been in use for decades. The 2002 penny is made of copper-plated zinc, a change from the previous copper composition. This new material made the coin lighter, weighing only 2.35 grams compared to earlier pennies. Because of its common mintage, circulated versions are usually worth only face value. However, uncirculated and proof-like versions can sell for $1 to $5, and if you find an error coin, it could be worth much more. For example, some 2002 pennies have misprints or doubling errors, which can significantly increase their value, sometimes reaching up to $50 or more in rare cases. If you're looking to sell or buy these coins, checking online auction sites, coin dealers, and numismatic markets is a great idea. Well-preserved examples, especially in original mint condition, tend to fetch the highest prices. If you believe you have a rare or high-grade coin, it may be worth getting it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. In conclusion, the 1992 and 2002 Canadian 1-cent coins are both historically significant and collectible, though their value depends on their condition and rarity. While common circulated examples may only be worth their face value, uncirculated proof or error coins can be valuable to collectors. These pennies hold a place in Canada's numismatic history, making them an interesting addition to any coin collection. Next up, the 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin, covering its design, specifications, rarity, and current market value. Make sure to watch until the end to find out if this coin holds any significant worth in today's numismatic market. The 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin follows the same classic design that had been used on Canadian pennies since 1937. On the obverse, it features a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine. This portrait, first introduced in 1965, was used on Canadian coins until 1989. Surrounding the Queen's image, you'll find the inscription Elizabeth II D.G. Regina, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse of the 1985 penny features the iconic maple leaf design created by G.E. Kruger Gray. This simple yet elegant design has been a hallmark of Canadian 1-cent coins for decades. The maple leaf, a national symbol of Canada, is displayed on a twig with the inscription 1 cent above it and Canada below it. The year 1985 is prominently displayed at the bottom. In terms of specifications, the 1985 Canadian penny is made of 98% copper, 1.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it a reddish-brown appearance. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Like all Canadian 1-cent coins of this era, it has a smooth edge. Now, let's talk about its rarity and value. The 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin was produced in large numbers, meaning that most circulated examples are not considered rare. However, there is one key variety that collectors look for: the 1985 pointed 5 and 1985 blunt 5 varieties. These two versions of the coin differ in the shape of the number 5 in the date. The pointed 5 variety, which features a sharp and narrow tip at the top of the number 5, is the rarer version and is more sought after by collectors. The blunt 5 variety, where the top of the 5 is more rounded and flat, is more common. If you have the pointed 5 variety in uncirculated or high-grade condition, it can be worth significantly more than the common version. In terms of market value, a circulated 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin is usually worth face value. However, if you have an uncirculated coin in mint condition, it can sell for around $1 to $5. The rare pointed 5 variety in high-grade condition can be worth anywhere from $10 to $50, and if you find a proof-like or error version, its value can be even higher. Some certified examples graded MS65 or higher by PCGS or NGC have sold for over $100 at auctions. For those looking to sell or purchase a 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin, online marketplaces, coin dealers, and auction sites are the best places to check. If you think you have a rare or high-grade example, consider getting it graded by a professional grading service to determine its true value. In conclusion, while the 1985 Canadian 1-cent coin is common in circulated condition, certain varieties, especially the pointed 5 version, can be valuable to collectors. If you have this coin, it's worth checking the date to see which variety you have, as it could be worth more than just a penny. Whether you're collecting for fun or investment, this coin remains an interesting piece of Canadian numismatic history. Next up, the 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin, covering its design, metal composition, rarity, and current market value. Stay with us until the end to find out if this coin is worth more than just 1 cent. The 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin follows the traditional design used for decades. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This right-facing portrait was used on Canadian coins from 1965 until 1989. Around the Queen's image, the inscription Elizabeth II D.G. Regina can be seen, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse of the coin features the iconic maple leaf design created by artist G.E. Kruger Gray. This symbol of Canada is displayed on a small twig with the words 1 cent positioned above and Canada below. The year 1987 is clearly marked at the bottom. In terms of specifications, the 1987 Canadian penny is made of 98% copper, 1.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it a reddish-brown color. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters with a smooth edge. This was the standard composition for Canadian pennies at the time, but as we moved into the 1990s, the material shifted towards zinc-plated steel to reduce costs. Now, let's talk about its rarity and value. The 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin was minted in large numbers, with millions of pieces produced, making it a common coin in circulated condition. As a result, most worn examples are still worth face value. However, collectors seek high-grade versions, proof-like strikes, or error coins that can be worth more. In terms of market value, a circulated 1987 penny is generally worth just 1 cent. However, if you have an uncirculated or high-grade example in mint state, MS65 or higher, it can sell for around $1 to $5. Coins graded MS67 or better can fetch even higher prices, sometimes exceeding $50. Special error varieties, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or planchet errors, can be worth significantly more depending on their rarity and condition. If you have a 1987 Canadian penny and are curious about its worth, check its condition carefully. Coins with minimal wear, strong luster, and sharp details are more desirable to collectors. For the best valuation, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. In conclusion, while the 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin is generally common, certain high-grade examples and error varieties can hold value in today's market. Whether you're a dedicated collector or just checking your spare change, it's always exciting to find coins that stand out. Next up, the 1981 Canadian 1-cent coin, covering its design, specifications, rarity, and market value. Stay tuned to see if this coin is worth more than just a penny. The 1981 Canadian 1-cent coin follows the classic design that had been used on Canadian pennies for decades. On the obverse, you'll find a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine. This portrait, which first appeared on Canadian coins in 1965, was used until 1989. Surrounding the Queen's image is the inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse of the coin features the iconic maple leaf design created by artist G.E. Kruger Gray. This simple yet elegant image of two maple leaves on a twig has been a symbol of Canada on 1-cent coins since 1937. Above the design, you'll see the denomination 1 cent, while Canada is written below. The year 1981 is clearly marked at the bottom. When it comes to specifications, the 1981 Canadian penny is made of 98% copper, 1.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It has a weight of 2.8 grams, a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a smooth edge. This copper composition gives the coin a reddish-brown appearance, although older circulated examples may show signs of oxidation, turning them darker over time. Now, let's discuss its rarity and value. The 1981 Canadian 1-cent coin was produced in massive quantities, with over 673 million minted. Because of this, most circulated coins are still only worth their face value of 1 cent. However, collectors seek high-grade versions in uncirculated condition, as well as special varieties or errors that could make the coin more valuable. One key detail to note about the 1981 penny is that it exists in two varieties, the high-relief and low-relief versions. The difference between the two is in the sharpness of the details on the Queen's portrait. The high-relief variety, which features a more prominent and pronounced design, is rarer and more sought after by collectors. If you happen to have this variety in mint condition, it could be worth significantly more. In terms of market value, a circulated 1981 Canadian penny is generally worth face value. However, if you have an uncirculated coin in mint condition, MS65 or higher, it can sell for around $1 to $5. High-grade examples graded MS-67 or better have been known to fetch upwards of $50 to $100, depending on their luster and overall appearance. If you think you might have a rare variety or a high-grade 1981 penny, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Error coins, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or clipped planchets, can also be worth more, sometimes reaching values of $100 or more depending on their rarity and demand among collectors. In conclusion, while the 1981 Canadian 1-cent coin is common in circulated condition, certain varieties, high-grade examples, and error coins can hold significant value. Whether you're a dedicated collector or just checking your pocket change, it's always worth examining your old coins to see if you have something special. Next up, the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin, looking at its design, metal composition, rarity, and market value. Stay with us until the end to find out if this penny is worth more than just 1 cent. The 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin features the classic design that was used for many years. On the obverse, you'll find a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine. This portrait was introduced in 1965 and remained on Canadian pennies until 1989. The inscription, Elizabeth II DG Regina, surrounds the Queen's image, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse of the coin showcases the well-known maple leaf design by artist G.E. Kruger Gray. The maple leaf is one of Canada's most recognized symbols, appearing on a small twig with the words 1 cent above and Canada below. The year 1979 is displayed at the bottom of the coin. In terms of specifications, the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin is composed of 98% copper, 1.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It weighs 3.24 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters with a smooth edge. The high copper content gives it a reddish-brown appearance, which can change to a darker tone over time due to oxidation. Now let's talk about the rarity and market value of this coin. The 1979 Canadian penny was minted in large numbers, making it common in circulated condition. Millions of these coins were produced, so most worn examples are still worth face value. However, uncirculated examples, high-grade specimens, and error coins can fetch much higher prices. If you have a 1979 Canadian penny in mint condition, its value can range from $1 to $5. High-grade examples graded MS-65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC can sell for $20 or more. Proof-like and specimen versions, which were struck with special dies for collectors, may be worth even higher amounts. Error coins are another factor that can significantly increase the value of a 1979 Canadian penny. Off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet errors can make a coin much more valuable. Some of these rare errors have sold for over $100, depending on their rarity and demand among collectors. If you think you have a valuable 1979 Canadian penny, check its condition carefully. Coins with strong luster, sharp details, and minimal wear are the most desirable. If you suspect your coin is rare or in exceptional condition, consider having it graded by a professional service to determine its true value. In conclusion, while the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin is common in circulated condition, high-grade examples, proof-like strikes, and error coins can be worth significantly more. It's always worth checking your collection to see if you have a special piece.